Hey guys, this is Josh from Grapplezilla, and today we got a special guest who's a good friend of mine named Rodrigo Artilheiro. He's an amazing guy, absolutely monster of a grappler, amazing instructor. The guy is a world-class judo black belt, world-class Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt, Olympic level Greco-Roman wrestling competitor. He has taught the best in the world in mixed martial arts, including CroCop. The guy has been on The Ultimate Fighter. He's had fighters fight in tons of fighters in MMA, and on top of that, top level self-defense instructor and one of the most interesting sculptors in the world, who has some amazing stuff going on in the world of sculpture, as well as sculpture in the brain, which is definitely something we want to hear about. So here we go. Rodrigo, good to see you, brother. How you doing?
Hey, great to see you, my brother. Miss you, my friend. First of all, it's a big honor to myself to be part of this your podcast and then your channel. So your Grapplezilla has been growing all over the world, and then I'm very proud of you, and then very excited to start a good conversation with you.
Thanks, buddy.
Everything good?
Yeah, thanks, buddy. How's everything? You're in Georgia now, right?
Yeah, I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. So been working with with the martial arts along with the sculpting as well, with the arts, with the clay for the brain. So I've been working with the police departments, all over Georgia, along with my friend Juan Jucão. So we'll be teaching Norcross Police Department, Lawrenceville Police Department, East Point Police Department. We did some work with FBI, SWAT team all over. And along with that, work with the self-defense, X3 Sports Gym, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And then also spread Clay for the Brain, teaching refugees, teaching, I was in Brazil right now, and I was teaching one of the biggest university called UFRJ, the mental health section, work with the sculpting, with the clay, all the therapeutic effects of the clay to the brain. So a lot going on, so being busy with the things that I love to do,
I think you also trained the world famous Bope in Brazil too, no?
Yeah, Bope, I trained the Bope. Bope, for people who doesn't know, is one of the biggest special units, worldwide. So in the video game, in the Xbox, there's a game called Rainbow Six, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
They're in the Rainbow Six and stuff, along with FBI and SWAT team. So I trained the WAP. I trained right now I was teaching the Polícia Civil, means like a special police in Brazil. Wow. I was teaching them, did a big course. So I'm gonna go to Switzerland this year.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna work with the police departments over there. My friend Anderson Pereira. So he does a great job in Geneva. So I'm ready to go there as well to teach. It's a guy that been working as well with the police, with the law enforcement, doing a great job over there with the civilians as well. A good friend of mine.
And you have, I've trained grappling arts a long time. I'm not the best competitor, but been doing it a long time. I came also from my dad's from the Soviet Union, so him and all his friends all came from wrestling backgrounds, etc. You're one of the most, let's say, deep knowledge in terms of total grappling. Like, you started in judo, am I right? And your dad was a famous judoka as well?
Yeah, I follow my father's step. My dad was a world-class judoka. He competed in the Worlds and in Mexico in 69, and Pan American Championship, South America champion. He was a big guy in judo. So I followed his steps. With the age of 5, I started, doing judo and compete as well. So and then I stopped to do a lot of different sports because I always did a lot of things, So I never get stuck in one thing because I believe in the brain, the brain, we all have like over 90 billion neurons, doing connection between neurons. I think I wasn't born to do one thing, and things are very connected. That's why I believe so. And then I came back with the age of 16 in jiu-jitsu and judo as well.
In jiu-jitsu, you were Carlson Gracie and Amore Bichetti, no?
Yeah, Amaury Bittetti, Oswaldo Alves, pretty much. Carson Gracie, Amaury, Oswaldo Alves.
The best of the best.
Exactly. And in 4 years, I got my black belt in judo. My professor, Jomar Carneiro. So in 4 years, I got my black belt in judo. And judo had Brazil was one of the biggest schools in the world, right? And I won in 2007, I won the biggest tournament in Brazilian trophy, right? So that's the hardest tournament in Brazil. So I beat Walter Santos. Walter Santos back then in 2007 was the number 3 or 5 heavyweight in the world. Yeah. So in the same year, he won the World Cup in Romania. He won the Pan American Championship in Miami. And 1 month later, he was doing the final of the World Cup against Ted Reiner. And then they all battled for golden score and stuff. And then I beat Walter in 30 seconds.
So I think like with a ippon or like a submission?
That was a takedown. It was a kushik tawashi, like a leg attack.
Wow!
I threw him out of the mat. So it wasn't a because Walter was a big guy. We fought 5 times. In our judo career.
Because you're a big guy.
And then
people don't know this. You're a big guy, man. And your dad, I heard, was massive.
I was a small heavyweight. I was a very small heavyweight because Walter's like 300 pounds of muscle. So like 2 meters, so very big. And anyway, I was very fast for the heavyweight, so that's why I competed in the heavyweight division.
What was the competition that you fought him in?
Was that?
What was the competition you beat him in?
Brazilian Trophy.
Wow. The
Brazil Trophy. This was a great, big competition. Right after that, they had the World Cup. And then Walter, 1 month later, he fought the final, Ted Reiner, the greatest ever.
So it's the highest level possible that you were at.
Exactly. But Ted Reiner, they fought for the whole match, So, and then I remember I beat Walter in 30 seconds. Amazing. And Ted Reiner beat Walter probably in over 10 minutes. So it was a big accomplishment for myself because even though Ted Reiner was younger, but Ted Reiner's Ted Reiner. Ted Reiner's like a LeBron James and Michael Jordan. Yeah. It's a mix of LeBron James and Michael Jordan in the sports of judo.
Yeah, he's the man, and he's a big boy too, eh? Big boy.
He's a big boy, exactly. So this is a big accomplishment because it was a bigger year for myself. And then 1 year later, 2008, I qualified myself for Beijing. I placed number 3. I placed bronze medal in a Pan American Championship in Colorado Springs in Denver.
For Greco.
And that was supposed to in Greco-Roman. That's supposed to give me a place to Beijing. But Brazil has a problem with the FILA, the International Federation.
Yeah.
And then the problem that we didn't have money to compete in Azerbaijan, the World in 2007.
Ooh.
So unfortunately, I couldn't make to the Olympic Games in Beijing. Anyways, so
I remember when one day it was funny. One day you said, "Let's go. We're gonna meet to wrestle." So I came there and I look at you and I'm like, Rodrigo Artilheiro. Okay, so I went. I got your leg, but you kind of let me, to be honest. I got your left leg, and I get you, and then you look at me like, and I'm like, what is this smiling man? I remember you went for a head and arm. This part of my brain went to this brain. My neck cracked, and I was like, oh, man. A guy who was a world-class judoka, who now is a Greco world-class. Man, the guy is a killer. You remember? But it was a good time.
Back at the gym, I remember that was funny. It was in Tel Aviv.
That was a good time, man. Boy, I got to say, you definitely have especially in Greco, scary guy. And on top of that, you actually have really good jiu-jitsu. I mean, in submission wrestling, you beat Jeff Monson.
Yeah, I beat Jeff. This was matter of fact, I have the belt right here with me. It's been 10 years. You can see the belt. Yeah.
Man, and Jeff is a legend too. At that,
Yeah. This time it's funny because I was to fight Tone Blast. They want to fight against Tone Blast. Tone Blast is a great
a great
grappler, very dangerous grappler.
Very
So,
dangerous.
and then I thought, man, this is going to be a match between me and him. Something happens. I think he had a very serious injury. He had to pull down the fight, and then they put Jeff. So I trained hard, and I did a good match with Jeff. So I ended up beating him by points. This was in North Carolina, and then that pretty much qualified myself to the ADCC because I compete twice, and one in England, North, and Brazil, 2015. One of my last competitions,
Yeah, I remember seeing the match with Jeff, and I kept on thinking, because a lot of times, I mean, America's got great wrestling, world class, top of the top. But a lot of times,
That's
of
cool.
the American wrestlers, they don't know the international guys who come, and then they see a guy, and he's a Brazilian wrestler, or the guy's from Georgia, and I just wonder what was going through his head the minute he clinched you, because bro, you know what I mean.
That's what I said after the match. It's like, oh, you're very strong. I never seen that before, blah, blah, blah. Because I compete. I learned wrestling mostly in Bulgaria. I had lucky to have great Cuban coaches, Angelo, Pedro, so.
Angelo Torres.
Exactly. So I had a good school of wrestling,
And Bulgaria back then was like, in the 90s and the 2000s, man, they were killers. They still are, but then they were really killers with Yordanov, but that was freestyle.
I used to go a lot. I used to go a lot of Bulgaria. Matter of fact, I won the bronze medal in the World's Beach Wrestling in Bulgaria, in Obzor.
Is that when you fought Kurtanadze?
Yeah, I fought Kurtanidze. I fought Kurtanidze, in the second match. I beat the Turkish guy from the oil champion from the bronze. I beat a Bulgarian guy. So it was a pretty big tournament. It was a FILA tournament. I placed, I got bronze, in the Worlds over there. And so it was a pretty good time, man,
I mean, you have such a, crazy grappling background. It's not even funny, man. There's not many guys who have your background because it's not just you have knowledge. You have it where you did a competitive level very high. And on top of that, you were a very good coach, especially in MMA. If I remember correct, you were CroCop's BJJ coach as well, Ultimate Fighter, if I remember. I remember seeing you in Fabrice Wildam. Do you remember this? Like this?
Yeah,
Man.
Yeah, it was the Ultimate Fighter. Yeah, was it 2005 in Brazil? I was 20. And then it was funny because Flávio Canto, one of the greatest judokas the whole time, Newaza judoka,
For sure.
So a good friend of mine, he was doing a physiotherapy session with Fabrício Verdun, and then Fabrício was trained. I didn't know Fabrício back then at this time. And then Fabrício asked me, do you know any guy that has some, like Fedor game, can do like, judo, read a little bit wrestling, jiu-jitsu, be aggressive, ground and pound and stuff. So I know. And Flávio said, I know Rodrigo Artilheiro. And then Fabrício called me. Hey, man, you want to go to Croatia to train with CroCop? And then you're going to make this amount of money, blah, blah, blah. I'll say, yeah, of course, man. But I was kind of worried because back then I was training with Pedro Rizzo and Peter Arts. And Peter Arts, those K1 legends, right? Yeah. First thing they told me when I told them, they said...
The lumberjack.
No, they told me like that. They said, be careful, man. You're going to kick your head. And then they taught me how to defend the high kick and stuff. It was a great experience because I ended up going twice to Croatia. I ended up having my first MMA fight over there in a beautiful place in Croatia back in 2005. So it was so nice experience I have in my life, training with guys like CroCop, Fabrício Verdun, such a great people, and then meeting the Croatian people, the culture over there. So it was a great opportunity I have.
Man, I would have jumped on that opportunity as well. So that was smart. The amazing thing is like I think you were also on Team Vitor. Am I right?
Yeah, Vitor. I know Vitor for a long time, and he invited me to go to come to the Ultimate Fighter show in Brazil when he was supposed to fight Vanderlei Silva. And then I went there. I was like coach, as a wrestling coach, grappling and stuff. And then this was back in 2012, I'm not wrong, in São Paulo. So we filmed like 6 weeks down in Brazil. Yeah, it was a good time as well. So the show ran on Field TV in America and global TV all over the world.
And it was in Portuguese, though, right?
Was that?
It was in Portuguese. Am I right? Or
yeah, it's in Portuguese, but there's like a English caption and stuff.
That's not the one with. Okay, no, it wasn't with Chelsona. That was the other one with Vanderlei, Team Vanderlei, Team Son. Am I right?
Yeah, the Chelsona. Vanderlei called me to be a wrestling coach for Chael, but I couldn't make it. Because I just got a new job in America, and then I signed with the X3 Sports, the gym that I work, and then I couldn't make it because I'm outside the country.
I wanted to ask you. I never got to ask you. Did you ever do anything with BTT, Brazilian Top Team?
Yeah, this was my old team, Brazilian Top Team. So I trained with them, myself, Jucão, Paulo Filho, Minotauro. They ended up coaching Minotauro Nogueira, his brother Rogério. Matter of fact, we won the UFC 81 as a coach. I won as a coach myself, along with Doria, Mauri Bittetti,
also Arona, no?
And other great coaches,
That's amazing, man. And especially those years, they were at the top of the top, man. Top of the
Exactly. When he fought Silva for the belt in the Mandalay Bay. This was back 2008, if I'm not wrong.
This was after Daryl Golar. They used to have a Greco guy named Daryl Golar, the American, right?
Yeah, Daryl used to be my coach. He helped me a lot in wrestling, So
little beast, huh?
Yeah, man. It was a good time. Such a good time.
And then, so if I'm right in the timeline, then you got somehow. How did you get? Because you're also a world-class Krav Maga instructor and self-defense instructor. Like, people have to understand, like, when you said you do multiple things, you actually do, How did you get into Krav Maga? Like, what got you to go there from Jiu-Jitsu and Judo? There's kind of like, either in the world of martial arts, it's Krav Maga or Jiu-Jitsu for more case, but you kind of put them both together.
I always got interested in the self-defense aspect. Always, myself. Always teach self-defense. I used to teach self-defense all over the world. In France, in Brazil. But when I was get close to my, I would say 36, 35, like a lot full of injuries. I wasn't competing, the way I used to, of course, because the body cannot go longer. So competing at a high level in a lot of different sports and heavyweight division, so the body got a little bit up.
Especially
Yeah, exactly. I was with my friend Gabriel Kitober. Matter of fact, Gabriel lives in Israel nowadays. He coached the Olympic team there. And then he told Artilheiro, if you want to get better in self-defense, you really need to go to Israel to learn Krav Maga from the people there. So to get more understanding about the guns, about the military training, about the defensive tactics, all the, So I believe Israel is the best place for that. And then that's why he spoke with his friend Roy Levy, one of our great friends from Israel as well. So, and then he spoke with Hanaka, Shitai, Ron Angelman, and then I introduced me to those guys. And since then I started going for about 7 years. That's why we met, right? Because I fell in love for the country. So I miss Israel, man. I fell in love for the country and then for the culture, for the food, for the people, the beach. Oh my God, it's an amazing time, man. I learned a lot of Krav Maga over there. And then all the knowledge that I had with the Israelis, with the Balkans, his army, those military stuff. So I mix it up with my knowledge too and my background with martial arts. And then, so that helps me a lot to understand about a different field, a different world, right?
Because from every time to be honest, every couple months, I mean, we talk all the time, but every couple months I see you're like training another police department, the FBI, etc. So, and sometimes I've seen some of these videos and it's no nonsense. I mean, you're teaching proper stuff, like straight to the point. You and João, I mean, you two, man, very good instructors, bro.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah, we're pretty busy here in Atlanta, in Georgia. Work with there's some work with FBI, the SWAT teams, now with the Norcross Police Department, East Point Police Department, one of the most dangerous county here in Georgia, one of the most dangerous in the United States, and Lawrenceville Police Department. We're doing big work right here down here, so incorporate all those martial arts, along with the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, of course, for the officers. And then we in 1 year and a half, in 1 year, right? We diminished like big numbers here down in Norcross PD. So the excessive use of force went down like almost 50%. It was something crazy, man.
It's amazing. So
they stopped using taser, gun, so we have videos and stuff, like officers like using hand to hand the whole time. So this is great for the community, for the people, for the country. So that's why it's being very successful so far, No,
man, what you're doing is amazing. I remember we were talking, I think a year ago, and I asked you about statistics, and you were showing me the stats since they started doing your course about the amount of a deadly force that was mitigated. It was like much less just by knowing how to deal with this. It's very cool, man.
Exactly, brother.
Now, there's something. So I'm gonna tell the audience, Rodrigo is one of the most interesting guys I've ever met. Literally, whatever he does, he picks up, and his knowledge of the brain is just phenomenal. So one of the things people don't know is, on top of being world-class grappler, you're a world-class sculptor who's been all over the world. You've done like sculptures of some of the most famous people in the world, putting their stuff into museums. You've had actually, what was his name? C.T. Vivian, the former USA minister. There's Helio Gracie. I mean, man, how did that happen? It's phenomenal what you've done.
I believe the gift that I have because at the same time I believe in a gift, I believe in the hard working too, and I believe in the power of the brain, the neurons. There's 90 billions of neurons, So we doing like a connection between neurons, I believe you can learn anything in life. Those old concepts about, you got to start this when you're a child. I don't believe in those things, So because I started sculpting with the age of 40. And then I start, find myself in the art, because I get this from my father, from my mother. My father was very creative. So was my mother. My mother used to write poetry, and then sculpting like poetry without words, right? It's everything from the inside out. And then, so with that thing, I met a guy called Kevin Chambers, So, and I had great teachers. I had great teachers, the best teachers in the world, best sculpture teachers in the world. They taught me the arts of sculpting, and then I used to practice a lot. I learned in Greece. I learned in America, So, and then I had in 6 months of sculpting, I had a chance. I was requested to sculpt the former minister of the United States, C.T. Vivian. The king. So the family requests me, and meanwhile, a big sculptor, like with 30 years of experience, did a great job.
You talk about C.T. Vivian, because you broke up a bit. The C.T. Vivian, the civil rights guy, right?
Civil icon. Yeah, the civil rights icon. So I met him in person. So, and then I sculpted him. Meanwhile, like I said, a guy, sculptor with 30 years of experience, did a great job in sculpting him. Of course, man, I was a little intimidated, right? Because I was sculpting for 6 months. And a guy with 30 years of experience, he has sculptures all over the world, all over in America, monumentals and stuff. I was like, maybe they're going to choose his sculpture instead. Guess what? The family chose my sculpture. They said, Rodrigo, we like your sculpture better because you capture his personality. You really capture my father. Man, I got chills when I say that, man. Because her daughter, his daughter said that to me. I was like, wow, man. And then now the sculptures is in a private collection. Can you listen to me?
Yeah, I can listen to you. It's fine. Talk. We're all good. The audience will love it anyways.
Try to rejoin again. I don't know what happened.
No, we can hear you.
So the sculptures in the special private collection in the Atlanta History Senate Museum, one of the biggest museums in the South in the United States.
Phenomenal.
And on top of that, I had an opportunity to sculpt the former Israeli Prime Minister, Golda Meir.
Like the movie, the one from the movie. The Golda.
Which movie talking about?
There was a big movie that was put out, I think, last year called Golda. It was all over the...
Yeah. Actually, I saw the movie, and the director, he shared the sculpture on his stories and everything. I sent to him, the director of the movie. So, the mayor of Beersheba, right? Ruvik Danilovich, he's the one who sent me a letter, and this is the one, he pretty much, him along with Arik, he put the sculpture in the technological university in Beersheba, the same university, Golda, she's the founder of this university. And then nowadays, you can see the bust displayed over there.
That's fantastic.
And also, Hindu Grace, like you mentioned before. Now we can see the bust is in Valentius Brother Museum down in Miami. So that one is my biggest work that I have.
I mean, that's honor right there, man.
Exactly, man. It's a big honor because I spoke with Royce Gracie, his son, and then he was very happy about it. He said, "Man, the sculpture is amazing. It captured my father likeness and everything. Thank you so much." So those are like a big accomplishment. It's like
sure.
Besides the sculptures I have displays across the globe, I have a company called, I'm a CEO of this company called Clay for the Brain.
Yeah, tell me about that. That's interesting, man.
Go ahead.
No, I was reading about Clay for the Brain. I think it's one of the most interesting things. You're trying to get... Tell how it works, because I can't explain, but there's a connection you're bringing to developing the brain and emotions and rehabilitation through sculpture. Am I right?
Exactly. The clay is very therapeutic for the brain.
Therapeutic,
the clay.
yeah.
When you touch the clay to make a realistic form, right? Our brain benefits from different chemical reactions. One of those big chemical reactions is dopamine. Dopamine is the reward system, right? So the dopamine is very, very important. The natural dopamine is very important for the happiness, right? Is that so? Clay is very therapeutic for the brain. It's being used forever, for the biggest places or rehab places in the world, throughout the world. So I did the work with the Champion Center, one of the biggest, place in the world in terms of rehabilitation. I did Emory after it was Harvard. It was one of the biggest hospitals in the world, Emory University and Hospital, right? I did a work over there with the vets. I was in France last year. I did a work in Valence and in Paris with the refugees over there. I did a work. I've been doing some work here with the refugees in Atlanta. So I was in Brazil the beginning of the year doing work with UFRJ. Man, this was the biggest university down in Brazil, and they have the mental health, section. So I taught a class to people with the psychoses, schizophrenia. So it was a big time, man, using the clay, and everybody loved it.
And the best part, I mean, it sounds cliche, but it's true. You're helping people, and that's important in today's world, man.
This is priceless, what you said, man, because so most of the time, how do you get paid? You get paid with emotion. Yeah. You know what I mean? And people don't understand how priceless that, being paid with emotion, not only with the money. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And I see you're a bit busy. You're in the car, because just to tell you guys, we had a bit of problem. You get two wrestlers trying to figure out how to use recording. Maybe it was my fault a bit. Let's see, but we got it finally. Rodrigo, what I want to ask you is, let's do another, I don't know, maybe in 5-6 months, another podcast where we can learn more about what your thoughts on like current things in grappling, as well as a lot more into clay for the brain. And I'm kind of interested to hear how there's a saying, you don't want to be a gardener in a war, but a warrior in a garden. And you're kind of that, like you're kind of that warrior who's trimming the flowers, which is your sculpture, you know? And that's quite interesting, man. You know, you're a guy who can smash people like no tomorrow, yet you do something so delicate and intellectual, like I'm not saying grappling's not intellectual, but sculpture and talking about the brain. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it would be awesome, you know, because, you know, I believe one of the reasons why I started sculpting, because I had a very strong PTSD, you know, from my father's death. My father's passed, I developed a very strong PTSD.
From his
and then
death,
that led me to learn sculpting, because I always knew the clay was therapeutic for the brain, you know. But I never, to be honest, I never realized that I'll be, you know, get to the point to sculpt prime ministers, you know what I mean, all over the world and stuff, you know. So those things just happens, you know, just happening with the. And then I kind of I never oh man, I'm gonna start sculpting because I want to become a sculptor. They're gonna sculpt a prime minister, civil rights icon. No, I did it with my heart, because I like it, and it ends up happening, you know. And besides, nowadays I do a lot of professional work. I sculpt people that, you know, family members, you know, dogs and stuff. So I teach kids, I teach universities, I teach schools, you know, the summer camp and stuff. So it's like a different job that I have that I enjoy to do, you know.
And it's very cool, man. It's very cool. It's like Rodrigo 2.0 in terms of life, right? You know, it's the next phase. Every man has.
And don't forget, it's a clayforthebrain.com. Also check my website, clayforthebrain.com.
Guys, I'm going to put everything inside the episode's description, including all of Rodrigo's social accounts, his website for Clay for the Brain, etc. And yeah, man, bro, thank you very much, my man.
No, I appreciate you, brother. So it's always a pleasure, you know, to speak, you know, and then again, you know, so I'm a big fan of Grapplezilla. You know, I know it's been growing, your page and the social media, YouTube, you know, podcasts and stuff. So because you always show like great stuff, man. I'm telling you, I'm not here to make you feel happy, feel good. You always show like when we talk about wrestling, you had all this, you know, amazing, you know, former world champions and Olympic champions, and you know, footage and an image that people never see before. And it's amazing, bro. It's amazing how we put all together. And then all those big personalities, you know, that you've been calling for your show, doing interview. So
thank you.
I'm very proud and very happy, man, to be able to speak with you in Grapplezilla. You know?
Appreciate it. So I just want to say this. I want to say thank you. And we shall be for sure speaking as friends, I'm sure, today or in the next couple of days. And for the audience, we're definitely going to have Rodrigo on again in the next maybe 3, 5, 6 months. And we're going to learn a lot more about his Clay for the Brain, his thoughts on modern grappling. If you have any questions, put them in the comments, and we'll try to answer you.
Right on, my brother. Right on, man. Thank you so much, man.
Cool.
I'm looking forward to it.
Cool. Have a great day, amigo, and tamo junto.
Likewise, tamo junto. Bye, brother.
Okay, ciao, ciao. Bye.
Ciao, man. Bye.